Hi guys, I'm excited to be here again this Friday. So today we're gonna make a Quillow, which maybe you don't know what that is, but I will definitely explain it to you. I'm quickly gonna just share my video and then we will get started. So let me just get the link here and then we'll get going. Make sure you check in with me when you get here. So that I can say hi. Hi, I see we're popping on. Hi everyone. So today we're making something that's near and dear to my heart, which is a Quillow, which you probably, I don't know how common it is. I have known about it since I was little, so maybe it's something I'm more familiar with, but maybe you do know what it is. I don't know. I'd love to hear. If you know what it is, let me know in the comments. If you don't know what it is, that's okay. I'm going to explain it. So, yeah, I'd love to see everyone check in and say hi. I've only got a couple more places to share and then we'll get started. I'm just getting over a cold, so I feel like I've been sick so much this year, right? Like, I don't know, it's craziness. So I don't know when I'll ever be well again. Maybe someday. Okay, I'm almost done. So make sure you check in. Hi Tanya, how are you? I'm so close to being done. It's finally nice and we skipped spring here. We've gone straight to summer, so it's hot and humid. You know, the Midwest is humid. So I have one more spot and then I'll be done. Let me find it. So, oh good. Good morning, Kirsten. I know, here we go. Here's the last one. Okay, I'm all done sharing. So today we're gonna make a Quillow, and if you click the link in the description of this video, I've got a written tutorial where I've made an actual quilt and added the Quillow bit to it. This is gonna be something a little different. We're not gonna do an actual quilt. So we're gonna do a knit blanket with a Quillow bit on it. So I'm near the St. Louis. I'm in the St. Louis area, actually in Illinois, but St. Louis is the closest thing that most people know. I grew up having them. My aunt used to make them for us, and so she helped me write the original tutorial because I wrote it a long time ago when I started my blog. So I had her help me a little bit with that first tutorial. So now I'm going to adapt it a little bit. So you could make a quilt and add this bit on, kind of a lap quilt, and add it on to make it into a pillow, or you can do it like we're going to do it, which is with knit, a bit lighter weight. I wanted something a little bit lighter weight that would be good for summer, like going to the drive-in movies or whatever. So we're going to do knit fabric, and today I'm excited. Where did it go? Oh, we're going to be working with, I have some really fun, I'm going to make this for my kiddos, some dinosaur. This is Art Gallery Fabrics. This is their knit fabric. It's real stretchy. It's got a 4-way stretch, okay? And so we've got that. I've got 2 prints of it. I just need a couple squares of this, so you don't need a whole bunch of the second print. The first print, this is a 40 by 60 piece, and I'm just going to fold it in half. I'm not even going to cut it. I'm just going to fold it and make it as is, like this. And then also you're going to need your walking foot, which is this guy, which we've talked about several times. If you don't have one, go on Amazon and just search your machine. So I would search Brother walking foot and they'll pop up. I think the only one, I want to say Bernina. It's kind of pricey to get a walking foot, but I feel like you can get it for most machines, especially entry-level machines, for pretty good price on Amazon. So the walking foot, and then you'll also want a ballpoint needle to work with the knits. Okay, yeah, it's Art Gallery Fabric, so it's super cute. I love it. it. And this one's a dinosaur too. It's just a, can you see? Oh, that's upside down. It's a Triceratops head. So that's the one I'm going to do on the outside for my pocket. This is what my blanket's going to be made of. And it's just going to be this because I want it to be, like I said, lightweight. But if you want to make a full blanket, like a quilt, just click on the post and then you'll be able to see the tutorial that I did. But you, like I said, you could do it with any quilt. Just before you bind it, you'll add the pocket. And it's all on the blog post. So share this video so you can find it later. So you can do it quilt style if you want. And so you can find this later on. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my guy here. And, well, I'm going to measure this because I want my pocket to be 1/3 of this, the length. So this is the way I'm going to do it. So the width of this is 40. Good morning. The width of this is 40. So 1/3 of that is what, like 13-ish, right? So 13 inches is about 1/3 because I want it to go right in the middle third here of this. Sorry guys, I have to have a cough drop because I'm like coughing up a storm here. So, yeah, so we're gonna grab this and we want 2 squares that are 13 inches squared. So I'm just gonna fold it in half. Let me scooch it down so you can see my fabric. Oh. There we go. Okay. All right, so just want 2 13-inch squares. So I'm just gonna, and especially because I have enough fabric to play with, I'm just gonna ignore these rolled ends and I'm gonna cut inside of that because it's a little bit trickier to work with that bit that's all rolled up. So just ignore that and make yourself a square inside that. So let's just line up our fabric and don't let it fall off. Ugh. Good morning, Pamela. So get yourself a square where you can find 13 inches. And then I'm just going to mark it off with a pen. Maybe if I have a pen. I'm just going to mark it off with a marker. It's fine. So let's find ourselves 13 inches on the bottom here, which is right here. And like I said, I want it to be a little extra. So from here to here, I'm just going to give myself a straight line, maybe. Didn't want to do it that way. Doesn't want to do it this way either. Then I'll mark up 13 from here. Maybe. And up 13 from here. Make sure everything's all flat and lined up. I love this little T-Rex face fabric. So 13 is right here. Try and keep it straight. We're gonna do our best. You guys always know, like, you'll do better than I did because you're not talking through it and trying to do it while everyone's watching you. So then I'm just gonna connect this here, like so, and hopefully we have a square, which we do. That worked out. Then I'm just gonna use these. I like using these flat scissors. You can use a rotary cutter if you want, but these mean you don't have to pick the fabric up a lot, which is nice. You could also just sew before you cut. That might be a better way to do it, actually. So I'm going to leave that bottom uncut. But these scissors are nice because it doesn't move the fabric around a lot, which is nice. Because knit fabric is squirrely. It's squirrely. Okay, so I've got it. I cut on the outside a bit of the line. And then I'm going to use, you can use pins or clips. Clips are fine. And I'm going to go around 3 of the edges. I kind of like to use a lot of clips because I feel like the knit just does not stay. Like, I like my quilting cotton because it stays together and it doesn't cause me too much fuss. I'm just going to pin them. And I'm just going to leave that, well, let's see. I think I want to leave the top open, so I didn't really pin that, but that's okay. And then to get your machine ready, you can use a regular thread. I like to, I say that, but I like to use a polyester thread, but just all-purpose polyester is fine for this. And then you can use a stretch stitch. It looks kind of like a lightning bolt. For me, on my machine, it's number 3. So if you have this, yes, I hate how it rolls too. So you can cut farther out, and then you won't have the roll where you're sewing. So I'm actually not going to sew this bit. I'm going to leave that bit open because we don't need it. Okay, so I'm just going to sew here along the bottom, which I didn't actually cut, but I'm just going to sew on the line and along the side and leave this edge open, okay? Let me move this out of the way. And like I said, we want to use the lightning stitch or the stretch stitch. It's just, your machine might call it something different. And I'm going to go around these 3 edges here. So not the top. Oh, I guess I didn't thread my machine. I switched over. I need to go stock up. I'm running low on my white thread, so we're going with black today, which is fine. It's my little guy's favorite color, which is strange to me. Good morning, Felicia. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Sorry I'm not super talkative and high energy today. My, throat really hurts. I've been coughing up a storm. I'm feeling better, but man, the cough will not go away. So I'm just going to do my lightning zigzag stitch, stretch stitch, whatever you want to call it. If you don't have a lightning or a stretch stitch, just use a zigzag stitch, like a short zigzag stitch. A short zigzag stitch this way, but longer this way. So it'll kind of go like that. Okay? So if you don't have that stitch on your machine, that's what you'll use. And it takes a bit longer because it's doing extra. If I'm just sewing right along the line, just keep it straight. And one of the things I think I see people doing is pulling. You don't pull. Let your machine do it. If you pull, you're just going to make it stretch in a weird way. Just let your machine feed. It's feeding both sides because we've got the walking foot, so it should feed pretty evenly. So let your machine do the feeding. If you pull, you're just going to mess with your stitch. It's not pretty. If you're anxious, just up the speed, go faster, but don't pull. Just let your machine do its thing. Try to go a little faster since did a wonky cutting job, so I'm just going to kind of sew in right inside the line here. And I'm only sewing 3 sides. So we made it all the way around all 3, and I'll show you what it looks like. Right like this, you can see, can you see that? The stretch stitch that I've used, it's kind of diagonal. And then, so we've got all 3 sides sewn. So you can cut this or not, just leave it. I think I'll cut it, so since we did extra and I just did it on the fold, I'm just gonna cut it right by the stitch, but not too close. I think my doorbell's about to ring and my dog's about to go nuts, but we'll just ignore it if that happens. Oh, yep, because FedEx is here. I totally have a package to sign for. I'm gonna run super fast and sign for my package because it's something super exciting. I'll be right back. Okay, fastest ever. I'm back. Okay, so we've got this. We've turned it out. This is going to be our little pocket, okay? So we've turned it out. And then I just want you to kind of roll the seams. And we're going to do a top stitch here in a second. But for now, I'm just going to turn the corners out real nice. And get everything, press the seam out the best I can. And you can press too. That would be a good idea. So but for me, I'm going to finger press it for now because my iron's not even plugged in. Okay, so now we've got our pocket all set. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take this guy. You kind of need a big workspace for this. It's kind of crazy. I shouldn't have ran. That was a bad idea. Okay. So find the top. If there's a, if the print has a direction, you want to find the top. But mine is kind of multi-directional, so it doesn't really matter. And like I said, I'm going to skip those rolled edges, and this also happens to be the selvage bit. Good morning, Tracy. So I'm going to just skip that and pin below that. You will need pins for this thing, this part. So then you're going to find the middle of this. So I folded it in half. This is going to be the width of my blanket, and it's folded in half. I'm going to fold it in half one more time and find the middle of the middle of each side, which is right here. And then I'm just going to put a clip there to tell myself where that is. So that's the middle. And then I'm going to unfold it with my middle still in place. And I'm going to take my pocket that we just created, and I'm going to find the middle of that too. Can you guys see? There we go. Here's the middle of the pocket. So we're going to put the raw edges, line those up with the raw edge of the blanket, right like this. Hi, Patricia. Let me find some pins. And then I'm going to pin that in place. And I'm going to pin kind of below where I'll be sewing. And I'm using the edge of the salvage bit as my guide to where I want to pin to make sure this is straight. And I'm going to pin here. I'm going to move this pin down a little bit. Okay, so now we've got our pocket pinned in place. So this should be in the very middle of what will be the edge. So, because we're going to fold this in half. We're making something called a Quillow. So it's some people don't know what it is. This is the open end, goes to the top of the raw edge. So all the raw edges are together here, if you can see. This is all raw edges. And this is the finished edge of that square. It's down towards the blanket. Okay? So then, I think, because we're going to, yeah. So then what we're going to do is we've got this in place. I would pin even more. Like, you just want it to lay flat. You don't want it getting in the way of anything. So I'm going to pin it more on the edges too, so that it's nice and flat and doesn't get in the way when we're sewing. And you'll want it flat later anyway, so it's worth your time. And you can't really use clips, unfortunately. Yeah, my dog, he's usually pretty quiet, but he, you know, I don't know if any dog can resist the FedEx man, right? So it's, yes, I guess some people probably call it a pillow quilt. It'll fold up into this little pocket here to make a pillow. I always called it a Quillow. That's what my aunt called it. She made them for us when we were kids, so that's what I call it. Okay, so now I am going to fold this fabric over and start pinning. So I want to leave this here up at the edge. Just remember, we're going to have to sew, we're going to use this salvage as our guide and sew 1/4 inch inside that. So I'm just going to I'm just going to get my edges together here, and I'm lining, you could cut this salvage off. It is a blanket. It's a blanket and a pillow all at once. You could cut this salvage off, but it's going to roll again. So I like to leave it and just remember it and sew well inside of it. So I'm lining up my the two edges where the salvage meets. I'm going to meet them together so it's a straight line, and then I'm going to start clipping, and we're going to just clip all the way around, leaving this guy up here. Oops, apparently my pins are falling out. And I'm just going to clip or pin. You can clip or pin, your choice, all the way around. I don't know, I guess I'll clip. But because it rolls, it's nice to just let it roll and work with inside that roll. Not worry about trying to mess with that. I'm just trying to keep all of the salvage together so I don't have a lot of white hanging out. And it might not be perfectly straight because the rolls aren't kind of rolling at the same way. So again, when I get here, I'm just going to make sure that that lines up. You can kind of put it up to a light. Oh my gosh, he's not a guard dog. He doesn't protect me. Like, he's definitely, yeah, he's definitely not going to protect me for any bad guys. He's going to lick them to death. Or if he's real excited, he'll just pee on their feet. So, so all I'm doing is all the right sides are together. Come on, bud. What are you doing here? It's kind of all funky. There we go. You want to have a nice big space to put this together. So I started with this. We're doing it, if you're just tuning in, we're using knit fabric for this to make a little pillow blanket, quilt, pillow, whatever. There's lots of terms, I suppose. But you could do this with a regular quilt. You'll just add the pillow section on a little bit differently. But the tutorial for that is linked. So I'm just kind of unrolling in the description of this video. If you can't see the description, I was watching a video the other day, and I realized it doesn't really show you the description when you're watching live. So what I recommend is sharing it, so then you'll be able to find it when you're ready. So once I'm done being live, it will show up in your feed, and you can look at the description. And that way you'll have the link to the tutorial. And then I'll go back and throw this video into that tutorial. I'll post it on YouTube and then put it in the tutorial. So I'm just pinning all the way around. I should have had this. I was trying to figure out how I could have it ready, but it's kind of hard to have ready. And knits are not my favorite thing to work with, but it's summer, and you know, we're getting ready to go to the drive-in movie theater, and so it's not really cold. You don't really want a full-on quilt, but just a light, it's almost like a sheet almost, something light to throw over yourself when you go to the drive-in movies, or in the evening when you're not really cold, but you're want something. So that's why I wanted to make it in the knit. And yeah, but you could do it in a quilt too. A thicker blanket with a binding. It works similarly, but you don't put it together quite the same. You, I know we just moved back here and they have one, which is so fun, the drive-in theater. But so far they've only been playing like, usually like growing up when we went to the theater, they had one screen that was adult movies, not adult movies. I always not, you know, that were for adults, like scary R movies and stuff. And then they had one screen that was kid stuff, you know, whatever was out in kid movies. And right now, there's nothing. They both, all 4 movies are not tailored for kids. I couldn't take my kids to any of the movies right now, so we're waiting, hopefully, to get a movie that they can actually go see, because it's not happening yet. So I'm just unrolling. Sorry, it's taking a long time because it's all rolled up. Yes, I put my feet in the pillow pocket too. That's the best place. It keeps the blanket on you. Nobody can steal it from you. And it keeps your tootsies warm. So, okay, we got 2 sides pinned. Now I'm just gonna clip this last side. And I'm gonna sew this other side. I'm just not gonna, I don't need to clip it. I guess you don't technically have to, but I like to have a built-in seam there. So again, I'm just making sure that these salvages line up. I don't want a bunch of white fabric hanging out once I sew my seam. This one's a little bit, one side has more of a white than the other side. We're almost there. Almost there. So did you guys have you heard of these? Have you made one? Did you have them when you were growing up? I'm curious. I can't say I've ever seen one that was knit. I feel like most of the time they're blankets, like quilts. I don't know, maybe they exist as a knit blanket or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if you can even call knit a blanket. It's usually like used for baby blankets, right? Knit. I don't know if I've ever had an adult blanket that was knit fabric. Okay. So we're all good here, all clipped up. So if you're just tuning in, we're using a knit fabric. So we've got, using a knit, oh, there's a really dangerous girl in a little pink car on the sidewalk, so now the dog's really not happy. We're using a knit fabric. I want you to have your ballpoint needle in and use your walking foot and a zigzag or a stretch stitch. So I'm just going to shake it out to make sure this line is straight. So I want it to be, I guess I should probably clip it too so that it's straight and it doesn't get wonky, because it's knit. It's not going to stay where I want it without me telling it what to do. All right. So I've just kind of shook it out so that all those seams fell where I wanted them to. I really recommend putting this down on the floor. I recommend putting this down on the floor and straightening it out. I don't have a lot of space on this table. So I'm just going to stand up and shake it a little bit. So hopefully that everything falls where it should be. Looks nice and straight. Okay. I'm ready to sew, and I'm going to leave myself a spot to turn it out. I just don't want to leave that spot where I put the pillow, okay? So if you didn't catch that bit, where is it? We've got our pillow over here. I'm all turned around. We've got our pillow pinned in right here. So I'm going to be sure to sew that part. So I'm going to start there and sew down and around and leave myself, actually, sorry, I lied. I'm going to start on this edge since I just shook it out. One more time. I'm going to sew this edge and around the pillow and then leave myself a spot to turn it all out. Okay? So let's just start right here. And remember that you want to sew well within that white. It's okay if we lose a little bit of well within your white edge if you've not cut that off like I haven't. So All right, so we're gonna go. Here we go. Remember, don't pull, just let it go. Just let it do its thing. Stop frequently and adjust to make sure everything's where I want it to be. Okay. There we go. It was acting all funky. That's weird. Hold on. What happened? Hold on. I got mixed up here. It got mad for some reason. It's all right. Fix it, fix it, fix it. Hi, hello everyone. We're just in the process. We're sewing together a knit blanket that has a pillow that will fold into a pillow. I'm just, you know, thread errors. I'm sure you've all had those. Let's rethread the machine since it got a little wonky. It was stuck and it got mad at me. Okay, so let's make sure that that's gonna work. Start again. There we go. It's super weird. All right, now we're good. So this one is a little different than any one I've ever done before. Usually I do a quilt and turn it into a pillow. Like I've said a few times, this time I'm using a knit to make it into a lightweight blanket for the summer that we can take to the drive-in movies or, you know, camping. Something you can use when you just want a little coverage, but not like a full-on blanket. I guess actual quilts aren't that warm either. Let's be honest. Unless you use super, super heavy batting. Trying to roll the feet so fast. It's not the quickest. And I'm not pulling with this hand, I'm just guiding. Straighten out here, make sure everything's straight. So I'm just using this hand to guide this fabric over here. I'm not pushing or pulling on here. I'm just guiding this as I go. And then I'm to this other edge where my pillow is pinned. So I want to make sure, if you remember, we pinned it below this white selvage. So I want to make sure I'm sewing well within that so we catch all of the edge of the pillow. So I'm going to, when I get there, I'm going to be sure to move everything down. This is heavy, so that's why I keep readjusting. I just don't want it to be pulling on my stitch. So I'm just readjust so it's not really affecting my stitch here. I'm almost to my pillow, so I'm going to just going to make sure everything here is, see, oh, it was rolled right there, so I'm glad I checked. I'm just going to pull it up, make sure it's all in line. Check again to make sure everything is in line. Doesn't really want to stay. These knits really move, so I like to check frequently. Oh, hold on, we lost it again. What happened? My thread is not happy. It keeps breaking on me. Not sure why it wants to break, but it's okay. Ooh, there we go. Try again. Happens to all of us. Okay. And everything here is lined up nice where I want it. Check one more time. It's a jersey, it's a knit stretch, so that's why it's a little different. I'm using a little different stitch. We've got our pillow sewn in. That's good. Then we've got one more side to sew, and then we'll be ready to finish it. It's a little funky. There you go. Knit is not my very favorite thing to work with, but I think it'll be cute with this. So we are making a Quillow. I guess it's technically not a Quillow because we're not doing a quilt. A pillow blanket. It will fold into a pillow. So I'm going to turn and go down this side, the next side. So this is another long side. Let's see, we're done with that one. Sorry guys, I'm recovering from a cold. Okay. Every time there's a clip, there's a weird roll. Just trying to keep it straight. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm not going to quilt it. We'll attach the pillow, so that'll that will keep it from moving too much. You could quilt it a little bit, add a few lines of quilting if you wanted, but when we attach the pillow, that'll help it lay down. This long edges, just trying to keep everything straight. There we go. And I'm also going to top stitch, so that'll help keep it straight as well from separating too much. sorry, I know I'm missing comments today. I'm just trying to, I know this is a lot to get through. We're almost down to the bottom. Probably don't have to be as paranoid about all this as I am being with making sure I'm not getting any rolls, but almost there. I won't, let's see. Let's make sure we're all. And then I'm just going to turn and go up this way just a little bit, and then I'll show you the finishing steps. And the one thing about the walking foot is you can't do a back stitch, which is okay for now because we are going to do a top stitch, so it's fine. Okay, so I am making a Quillow. So what I'm going to do, we've sewn all the way around except for this bit right here. This we've left open. So I'm going to stick my hand in, and be careful because remember we pinned. So I'm just going to stick my hand into this corner and flip everything out. And there's the pins. And just double check before you get too far that you got this whole edge here and you don't have anything raw sticking out. And it looks like we did. We got it. Can you see there how it's right there? So nothing's sticking out. So now we can fix our corners and get them how we want to be. We want everything to lie nice and flat. And then we're going to, you could do it in two different, oh, well first actually, because remember we had all this extra. Let's trim up all this on these corners so that we don't have a weird bit. So I like to just do a little bit of a diagonal cut on the corners. Should have done that before I turned it out. Okay. And you can cut off all that extra, this too if you want. I don't mind it because we're just gonna, it's not gonna be visible. And I don't know if you noticed, but I did all four corners because I don't like to turn out and have to top stitch on the corner when it hasn't been sewn. I like to, that didn't make a lot of sense. I don't know if that made sense or not. I don't like to have to do a corner after the fact. I like them all to be done and then the top stitching just closes up a straight line rather than a corner. Does that make sense? Sorry guys. Okay. So, let me pop one more cough drop and have a sip of water before I talk. The cough drops are like my candy. Okay. So we'll take this guy and we'll get our corners nice and turned out. Don't push too hard. Just try and get them out the best you can. Come back. Get everything turned out. This is going to be such a fun sweet blanket. Okay. So, and like I said, this is Art Gallery Fabrics. This is they have a dinosaur. It's a knit. They have a knit. Some of their, lots of their fabrics come, a few of the prints come in a knit, which is really nice. And in the blog post that I listed in the description, I used Art Gallery fabrics for that too. Their stuff is just so, the hand is so, so, so nice. This is just so, so soft. Okay, so I'm just turning my corners, getting my corners nice and flat. And then I'm gonna do it, shake it again, shake it out, so we can finish this pocket. Let's see. So it's a little bit, you might want to trim, it's a good idea to trim that seam on the inside too, because I'm real thick. One more time. I won't turn the whole thing out this time, just right there by the pocket. Where are we? Just want to trim up some of that extra fabric where that pocket is, because I don't want to have to sew over it. Where does it start? Here it is. I'm just going to trim up all that extra. And if you're using a knit, I think I would definitely go through and trim all of that extra selvage edge through the whole thing. But I don't want to make you guys watch me do that right now. So we've trimmed that up a little bit. That's better. My pins are coming out. Okay. So now I'm going to try and get that edge nice and flat and make sure all my fabric is not bunched up underneath. So I'm flattening out this pillow. I am making a pocket pillow, pocket quilt pillow. I call them Quillows. So I'm just getting that seam how I want it, and then I'm just clipping it in place. And then, now we're going to lay everything flat, make sure everything's nice, and you're going to be worrying about 3 layers. The pocket, the front, and the back. You want it to be super flat and nice because we're about to sew it in place. So make sure all 3 of your layers, that everything lines up. Your seams are nice and flat here, that the fabric is nice and flat. You can take these out and we'll put them back on in a second. We want to make sure everything's flat. So just flatten everything out underneath. So both layers. Okay. And your pillow. And then all your seams over here are nice and flat. Okay. So everything's in the place where we want it. Now, we're going to sew here, here, and here. And we're still leaving this open, okay? So I'm going to clip it. I'm going to pin it just to keep it flat. But we're not sewing this bottom line. And this will keep it from having to be quilted because it'll keep the layers together. And I'm going to clip here, pin here, away from the edge. Like so. Okay. And I've got this clipped down nice and flat. So now you can see we've got, I'm not sewing the bottom edge. I'm just going to sew these 2 edges and here. Okay, so up and around. And you might even clip over here to keep everything flat, or pin. I always say the wrong word no matter what it is. If I'm clipping, I say I'm pinning. If I'm pinning, I say I'm clipping. Unbelievable. Okay, so I'm just going to pin around here to keep everything else nice and flat and from bunching up. Just to keep it out of the way. I'm going to use my stretch stitch again, just because we're using the stretch fabric, so I want it to stay stretchy. Okay, so just like that, I'm going to sew up, across, and down. I'm going to start over here. I need to do my videos on a day when it's not trash day. Can you guys, do you hear it every week? The trash guy, he drives by right as we're sewing. I'm like, shh, keep it down, trash man, keep it down. Okay, so this is why we clipped everything, because it wants to get all funky. I'm just gonna sew right along the edge of that seam. Your machine might not be super happy, but Okay. Let's see if my machine can do it. All right. Stop being cranky. I might just do a straight stitch. If it doesn't want to do the stretch stitch. There we go. I'm going to go right up to the edge. Okay, I'm going to turn and go along the side. Okay, you might have to give it a little tug on the corners. I have, if you look on, so if you share this, you can either just go to my blog and search Quillow, and I've done it with cottons, with a quilting cotton. I actually did a really sweet triangle quilt with it. Or you can share this video, and then when I'm done, you'll be able to see the description, which will show you the link to the blog post. To the edge, and then we'll turn. This blanket that I'm making it was 40 by 60, but you could do it with just about any size quilt. You just need, this pocket is 1/3 about of this whole width of the top edge, or I guess it's 1/6 of the entire width, so it's 1/6 of, right? Is that how I did it? So I think I did 13 inches, which is 1/6 of, I don't know. I don't remember. I'll have to, let me measure again. My brain is so not functioning. Hold on. That pin came off like in my hand. That wasn't pleasant. Okay. And then when I get here, I'm just going to turn around and do like one more little stitch going back, since it's the edge and you don't want it to pull too much. Come on. Again, that's why I don't use pins. Pins, you're not my friends. Okay. I'm just going to go back real quick, just to give it a little, since you can't really backstitch with, or not really, you can't backstitch with the walking foot. Just going to give it a little more oomph here to make sure it's nice and attached. Okay, now I'm happy. All right, now this is not, there we go. Just going to clip my threads, and you'll see we've gone through the back too, so that means that it'll keep the two layers together of knit. So I'm going to take my pins off here, all of them. So let's see, this blanket is 38 inches wide, okay, and I made it 13 inches, so yeah, that's about 1/3, right? Because we did it about 1/3 of 40. So let's take our pins out. There's one here too, and then I'll show you how to finish it, and I just want to show you how to fold it because it's fun. So to finish it, we're going to go back to this edge. Make sure your corner's nice and turned turned out how you want it. Get all of them turned out. And then I do a lot of shaking. Okay, we want to kind of make sure that all of this lies flat. So you're gonna top stitch all of this together right here. You're gonna top stitch along this line, but first you're gonna clip it or pin it in place. So an iron might be your best friend, will be your best friend on this. So we've got all that. So I'm gonna start over at this edge, which is already sewn, but I wanna clip it so that everything lies nice and flat. Just kind of wiggling the seam and getting that extra fabric underneath out of the way. You can use your hand for that. Just make sure everything's straight. And then clip it in place. Give us a nice straight seam here. And then as you go, you'll probably want to iron it in place, but I find that just taking your fingers and kind of, it works a lot better on the cotton, but I think it'll work on here too. Just kind of pulling like that. Yeah, these would be perfect for, oh yeah, for college, but you know what else? They'd be perfect for like preschool, if they have to take, like for a nap mat, because it can be a pillow, it can fold up. So I'm just kind of, I definitely recommend you press this and take your time. But you know me, I'm not going to do that at this moment since we're all here together. So I just always keep making sure that this is still straight over here. I don't want to end up with a big bunched up piece. So yeah, just clip all this together. I'm just gonna do it perfectly right now because I'm okay. So that's what you will do, and then yes, that would be perfect for her. It's super. The knit is, you might do it in cotton if you're doing it with a little one because the knit is a little bit more difficult. So you've pinned this open and closed. You're gonna top stitch around the whole thing, but let's do the fun part because that's what we really want to do, isn't it? So turn it to fold it. We really want to see it finished as a folded pillow, right? So I'm going to take my threads off. You've got your, you can see this is our back where we've got it sewn on. So I'm going to fold it and use the pillow as your guide so that the pillow is my very edge there. I'm going to fold the whole thing. Let's see. I can line it up, straighten it up. Still don't have enough room on my table, even though we've gotten it smaller. Okay, so I'm going to fold that whole side like that. Oh, sorry guys, I gotta blow my nose again. Okay, so I'm going to fold that whole side, just a straight shot. And we're just pretending you've already top stitched it, okay? Around the whole thing. I will top stitch the whole seam all the way around when I'm, but you guys don't have to watch me do that. So I folded it in thirds, right like this. And I've used, you can see I've used that pillow as my guide because it's going to fit in there eventually. Let's see. Apparently it didn't cut that off. Okay, so it's in 2/3 and it's pretty forgiving, so it's not a huge deal. This is the true test of if you got everything straight or not. Then you can start here and fold it into squares that are smaller than the pillow as well. It might not be perfect. It's all right if it's not the perfect size. So we're going to just pretend like you already sewed that and you don't have the clips on. Then I'm sticking my hands inside my pillow here and just going to turn it out like so. And then you have a little It's not as full as it would be if it were quilted. But you got yourself a little pillow here, a little square. And it fits right in there. They can carry it. You know what? You could put straps on it and it could be a backpack. Lots of fun options. But that's our little Quillow pillow tutorial. So the inside of whatever the pillow was will show now. This is the inside. This is the outside. So you could do something fun in here, like a picture, or applique something on here so that it's inside the pillow. So when you turn it out, you have a fun applique. Yeah, so that's it. That's all you do. And then to finish, you will top stitch around everything, and you won't have all these lumpy clips in there. But you guys can, I mean, that's exactly what we just did. And then you pull it out, turn it out like this, and you've got your blanket. Unfold it, and you've got your blanket. And like we were talking about earlier, I like to put this side down and I stick my feet in it when I'm using it as a blanket. Keeps it on my toes. If you guys have problems keeping the blanket on your toes, it's perfect for that. Or when I was a kid, I would put it over my head, like this, you know, to wear it like a cape almost. Not that you can see me because it's all messed up. Let me bring you back up. So you can, like I said, share this video so you can find it later, and you'll also be able to see the link. Or you can search Quillow, Quillow, on my blog, and I made one out of a cotton quilt. So you can see it's a little fuller, and yeah, you could do it with any quilt. You just, before the binding, when you're doing your quilt, before you bind it, put the pillow on, again with the raw edges up here, like we've done, and then just bind right over that, and sew it on the edges like we did. So you could do it exactly the same just on a quilt. You could do it on any quilt you've already made, actually. So that's it. Yeah, top stitch. I will go back. I'm going to top stitch the whole thing to help it lie a little bit flatter with the knit, because knits do separate a little bit. Sorry guys, the talking is killing me. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I know I missed a bunch of comments because I was sewing and distracted today. But yeah, I'm excited, and I think I'm going to be here next week. We're going camping on Friday, but I'm going to try and convince everyone that I need to do a video first. It might be a little earlier. I might come on at 9 my time instead of 10. I usually come on at 10 my time. We might come on at 9 since we're going camping. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Thanks for watching.